Recording in progress.
We're calling the meeting to order at 5:04 p.m. For Finance, Economic Development, and Regional Affairs Committee. Thank you very much for being here. The very first item on the agenda is the public comment. And I do have some sheets for public comment. The first person is Karen Brigado.
Good evening, City Council members, President Honda. I am Karen Brigado. I'm a 30-year resident of the Twin Lakes area, and I'd like to speak again about Ordinance 94-217, and I've been speaking about this every month, and I know you know the lines very well. You have a rewrite before you, and that is a very interesting rewrite. Specifically, I have a couple things that I'd like to mention about it. You delete renovation, repair, and remodel. That language is specifically there, and it was in regards to the Federal Community Center that had a giant remodel. I have to say that a senior staff member, when questioned about it just in January of this year, just 6 months ago, the senior staff member said it doesn't apply, it only applies to new construction. Well, luckily, legal found out that the auditor is involved, and I don't know if the auditor would agree with senior staff member. Another point is the modernization of that ordinance. I believe in modernization. It needs to be increased. I would actually ask for 10 times the amount, 250, but it's up to you what needs to happen. All I ask is that the Arts Commission be asked. And as a concerned citizen, of course, I'm representing myself, but you need to ask the Arts Commission. They have cures. They're right here. It would take a lot more than 3 minutes to go over everything that is involved. Another thing, too, is the modernization of this ordinance needs to happen. Along with that is the modernization of the Arts Commission budget as a whole. The Arts Commission budget is 30 years. It hasn't moved much at all. Little blips here and there, but it's basically the same. I don't know if you're aware, well, you are now, that for the last 7 years, I have been having lunch or just seen the mayor. Hi, Jim. And so we've been going over the Arts Commission every year. Every year, I give him what needs to happen, the programs that need to happen, specifics that need to happen. I have emailed it all to you, each one of you, so you all are aware. The modernization of both need to happen. They're both hand in hand together. We need to start building our community, having pride in our city. Art is not a luxury. It is not. Creativeness goes everywhere. We have organizations here, local organizations, that would love to get involved. I have personally talked to each one of them. They would love to be creating community here. And I hope that you will consider both budgets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vergado. I need to welcome to other member of our committee, Councilmember Mark Moore just joined us, and we have Councilmember Les Sessoms on the Zoom. All right, thank you. Next person to speak is Vicki Chenoweth.
Good evening, City Council. I took the long way around so I could get my thoughts together. But I'm here today to speak about art in public places. And I just want all of you to be aware of how important art is in our community and how important art is in all communities. People focus around food, art, music, whatever. But that's how we all become a part of a community. And art also helps with safety. When there's art in the public or murals on the wall or on the buildings, you know, it feels more vibrant, more clean. And if there's no art, then the riffraff moves in. There's a lot of crime. There's people they don't care for their community. They're throwing their trash all over the place. So art is very important in the community. It builds a sense of belonging. And with this diverse community, there are so many people that could benefit from learning about different cultures and the diversity of this community. It's very important that we all acknowledge that part of this community. That's what makes this community so beautiful, you know, is all the diversity that we have here. And then art is about storytelling. Art tells a story. It tells a story of each one of us, that there's art over there of what was here in Federal Way before the city of Federal Way was here. So art tells a story. It tells a story for each one of us, and everyone has a story to tell. So I would hope that you would all consider how important art is in this community or in all communities. And I know that every city is short on funds in their budget, but art is not where we need to start cutting. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would think about that in your decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chenoweth. Just for those who are listening, this item is on our agenda later on in the meeting, and so we will be talking about the amount of money that goes for the arts. I also need to mention that our other council member, Jack Walsh, the member of the committee, is here, as well as we've been joined by Council President Susan Honda and Council Member Melissa Hamilton. We don't have, is Lydia on? No. All right, the next person to speak is Paul McDaniel. Are you here, Paul?
Good evening. Paul McDaniel, resident since the 1990s. I got a couple of items to talk about today, so I'm going to speed through a few of them. The first one is just a general notice of the agenda. If you notice, there's 10 items. 6 of those are grants. For those who are listening who are not familiar, grants are usually not part of the budget cycle, so without this money, those projects would not be done. I'd also like the new members of the council to understand that this is how often we need grants in order to do our budgets. The second thing is going to be on agenda item H, which is the ordinance on the arts of public places. My passion is not as much for the arts as it is for accountability and consistency. On May 15th, the council passed the 21st Avenue Southwest Preservation Project. In that was a contingency for 10%. Contingencies are not legally required. I think the council should be removing the contingencies. That was for $230,000. 10%, $230,000. That's more than enough money for the arts to be happy for a while. So the contingencies that are being put on projects, I think they should be removed. I know the reason the staff doesn't want to come bother you again, but at this point in our budget, I think you guys need to be bothered every time we spend money. The second item is item I, the vouchers. I noticed that the 911 services cost $529,000. I would like to know if that's for a month, a quarter, or a year. It does not explain that part. I also noticed that jail, when combined, was $150,000, but did not make the top 10 list or the list of $100,000 and over. I'd like to make sure that gets added in there next time. There's also an item in there for $22,000 for the My Building Permit. That's a piece of software I've talked about in the past. I'd like the council to speak to the mayor in those to find a way to incentivize the employee needed in order to finish off the project, allowing us to do single-family houses, commercial, and other items through that software. I believe that'd be a big help and be worth the extra money spent on it. And there's also a spend of $258,000 on transportation equipment. A bunch of vehicles were purchased again. I will go over the budgets part that I looked at now, and I don't think we should be buying a whole lot of vehicles at this moment in time. I understand it's their prerogative to do it, but also understand that's my money they're spending. The next item is item J. I'm going to go through the revenues real quick. Revenue is unfavorable by 8.7%, but expenses are favorable by 10.1 or 10.3. Both numbers are mentioned on the report, so I'm not sure which one's correct. My question is, what is that 10.1 or 10.3 of favorable expenses? It means we have projects we have not completed. I'll jump into the unfavorable. Sales, REITs, permits, business, red light cameras, and investments all are not favorable. Red light cameras is down by $650,000 or 35%, and the investments are down by $685,000 or 38%. The only favorable thing we have is utility. Electricity is up by 21% for almost $600,000. Gas is up by 3% for $33,000. Water is up by 10% for $108,000. Solid waste is up by 10% for $73,000, and the second solid waste is up for $95,000. That's $209,000. But our tax rebate was only $335. I will send you guys emails on other things. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Groom, are those some of the items that you might be able to respond to today? I did, thank you, Mr. McDaniel. I did speak with him before I talked with the auditor. And I did talk about some of those revenue streams, so yeah. And I talked with Mr. Groom as well. All right, now, the next person, we've been joined by Lydia, Councilmember Lydia Sefa-Dawson on Zoom. Welcome, Lydia.
Thank you.
It's always funny, it's kind of like a ghost coming in, and there's no picture, but we know you're there. Tom Bristol. I believe Tom's with the Arts Commission.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for having us here from the Arts Commission. There's a number of us here, and we appreciate you taking up the revisions to the ordinance about public art. I know that I've been part of the Arts Commission for a couple of years and chaired this year, and also speaking for myself as an individual. I recognize there's been a significant amount of conversations around this topic, and I appreciate you all taking it up. in various ways and formats and personal interactions as well as here. I really feel in support of a lot of the modernization and revisions to the ordinance. I think the only question that I'd like to ask tonight has to do around the maintenance. So since maintenance is being removed as an eligible art in public places expense, maybe what funding source does staff anticipate using to preserve the city's existing public art collection? And so this refers to pieces that we've, traffic boxes we've installed, pieces throughout the city. That's just the only thing that came to mind for me. So I just wanted to raise that for you. But again, we appreciate all that you do to support the arts. We would love to see an increase in budget because that just gives us more opportunity to put public art on display throughout the city. But I know that my effort this year has been to work really hard with what we do have and make the most of it. And I look forward to giving a mid-year report to the full city council this coming month. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. That's all of the persons that have signed up. Is there anybody else who would like to speak this evening? Okay. Council member?
We may not be getting sound on when people are watching over the internet, they may not be getting sound, just as FYI.
IT, that we're hearing that some people who are listening over the internet may not be able to hear us. I don't know if it's something you can fix or not.
I can hear you, but that's just me.
Thank you, council member. Okay.
I can hear too.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
I
All
just
right.
got texting now, so.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you. It's always a mystery. IT is just a mystery. Okay, now we're moving on to committee business. The first item on the agenda is authorize the acceptance of Department of Public Defense SPAR grant. Brian Davis, city manager. Administrator, sorry.
Thank you, Chair Kushmar and members of council. These next two agenda items are mine. They're both grant awards, so good news. A lot of times this meeting is we're coming to ask for money, and we have a lot of grant awards tonight, so happy to supplement our asks with some grant awards. The first one is a grant from the State Office of Public Defense, and this is the fourth time that you've accepted this grant. This time it's $30,000, not a lot, but it's worth our time and helps out with our public defense and related costs. So happy to answer any questions, but that's what we're here to accept.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions? I see Council President Honda.
Thank you. So, do you know the total amount of money we spend every year on public defense?
No, but I can get that to you.
So this is just a drop in the
This
bucket?
is this is, yeah, it's not $30,000 what we spend per year.
Right, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Hamilton?
That was going to be my question as well. I thought I saw on the vouchers 100,000 for public defense.
It's more.
For this month, yeah, I thought, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I like that we're getting the grant. It looks like 30,000 is the maximum we're allowed to get. I still want to just beat the drum on public defenders. So a couple things have happened. We now, have all drug cases pretty much being sent to municipal courts. So now we have all drug cases, and also caseload standards are drastically reduced. And we have 10 years to get down to the level the Supreme Court says we have to get to. And every year we have to reduce by 10% until we get to that standard. So just want to put out there that our public defender costs are going to triple. And if we could get the number on how much annually we spend on that, that will help us understand exactly how much we can expect to have that budget have to increase. So I'm glad that we got the grant, but I do think it's a drop in the bucket, but luckily we do have it to help.
All right, council, any other? Do I hear a motion?
I move to forward option 1 to the July 7, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I believe the next item is, approve acceptance of Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission grant. Again, Mr. Davis.
Yes, so this one's a little bit bigger. This is just under 3.3 million. This is the second half of the Senate Bill 2015 items that we have been talking about. The first was the sale tax issue that you passed a few council meetings ago. The second half of this is a grant. This is a one-time grant that we applied for. We applied for about 5 million. We got 3.2, well, 3 million, it's on the agenda bill, 3,298,724.63. This is to help with hiring and retention and training of police officers. We've had several discussions about our ending fund balance for 2026, which is expected to fall short. And so without this specific grant to not supplement, but to hire and retain the positions that we would need to adjust by the end of the year, then we would need to move forward with that action. So this Chief Wong and Director Groom, we've had discussions about this before, that in order to meet the ending year fund balance, I believe we identified it as about $1.5 million that we talked about before, that we would have to eliminate budgeted positions in the police department and simply not fill them. And so to meet that gap by the end of the year, this grant will help considerably with that. This is a 2-year grant, and we're very pleased with the outcome. This was more than we expected, a little bit more than we expected, which is great news. But we are happy to present this to you and ask for you to accept it.
All right, thank you very much. Council, let's see, we've got Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Chair. So Brian, if I'm not mistaken, these funds can only be used for very specific funds.
That's correct.
Okay. So what's an example of what it cannot be used for?
Well, I'll tell you what it can be used for, and that's for hiring and retaining of, and training of law enforcement officers.
Right, okay.
So anything that is not that.
Exactly. So no programs, no, just those things that you stated specifically.
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
our budget is
Very tight.
very diverse, so that's a tough question to answer on the spot. That'd be any department or function that is not qualified for that specific purpose.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you.
All right, let's see, let's go with Councilmember Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank our police department for working on this. I did tune in to the Criminal Justice Training Commission's meeting last time they met, and they've already dispersed 63 of the $100 million in round one. So it's good that we got in when we did, because they're probably going to be out of money by round two. And I'm happy that we got what we got, and happy to invest in public safety.
Council President.
Thank you. So looking at our budget and this amount of funding, which is amazing to get. So the invoicing starts in October 15, 2026 and ends July 10th, 2027. So after July 10th, 2027, we are responsible for the 10 officers that we hire with this, for their full salaries and benefits?
That's correct, yeah.
And so then the budget that we work on and vote on in November is going to have to reflect that?
Yes.
Will we be able to keep the officers?
That is something that we're planning to, yes.
So do you think that this funding will come back again? Has there been any talk about a second round?
I don't know. We certainly hope so, but we don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
I have Councilmember Seva Dawson. Your hand is up. Oh, now we can't hear you. Do you have your,
Okay, sorry, yeah, I was struggling. I think my question was very similar to Council President Honda's. So if we're hiring, what is it called, temporary, then I don't know if we're good people. So how is this really realistically, how is it going to work and how is it going to affect us? Or like she said, do we need to budget for it moving forward for 2027 budget? No, 2028 budget cycle? Or what are we really saying?
Yeah, we will budget according to the resources that we have. So this adds to what we have available. And if the projections indicate that we will not be able to retain and hire budgeted positions, then we will then have to subsequently reduce positions, just like we were talking about earlier, which this grant prevents from doing.
But it only prevents it for 2 years, right?
It does, and we would have to adjust if the revenue projections don't reflect our ability to keep them.
Okay. And when round two happens, would we qualify to apply for it?
Assuming
If
that
and
the-
when?
Yeah, if there's a round two, and assuming that the eligibility requirements and qualifications are the same, we would qualify. We have, our police department has worked hard to make it such that our policies and rules are in place for us to qualify for this grant. And we were fortunate that our department was able to do that. I would say that we were 99% there. We just had to make a few additions to qualify. So it was good news that we nearly qualified the first time, but from now on, we should qualify should there be a second or subsequent rounds.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Sessoms?
Thank you, Council President. I attended a conference last week, and one of the workshops I participated in actually addressed this grant. The commissioner did confirm that there will be a round two, and we are eligible, as you pointed out, to reapply for this. She also commended you and the police department, the chief, for having all of our ducks in order. She was really, really impressed with the work that was put in, and she highlighted Federal Way's application. Received a round of applause from everyone in attendance. So I would encourage you, or encourage us to reapply. I think we stand a good chance of getting awarded again. And I just wanted to make that comment to you. Thank you very much for your leadership on that.
Thank you.
And please pass that on to the chief.
Thank you, Councilmember. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Les. He's referring to the Association of Washington Cities conference that we attended in Spokane last week. So thank you very much, Les. So, Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to address some of the questions. Yeah.
We seem to be having some technical difficulties. Councilmember Sessoms, can you still hear us?
Yes.
The video's all frozen, but the audio seems to be working. So we could either take a minute and reboot, or we could just plow ahead. What is your preference? There's no, the video's frozen.
But the audio is working.
The audio's working.
Yeah.
It'd take us 5 minutes.
Do you want to take a break, council, and reboot? We okay
Sure.
with that?
Okay, sure.
Okay, let's get through Councilmember Moore's question, and then let's do that, okay?
Well, you weren't
My
done, were
question.
you?
And Hamilton, as well as Moore.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to, because we had a couple questions about how are we going to maintain the officers that we hire. I do want to point out that HB 2015 provided two funding streams, if you recall. The one was the grant, and the other was the Councilmatic 1.1% sales tax. And that is the ongoing funding stream that will help us retain the officers that we're going to be gaining by way of the grant. And so that's sort of how that works, and I just wanted to point that out, that we do have an ongoing public safety funding stream.
Thank you, Councilmember Moore.
Yeah, I mean, I have every faith and confidence that the future will look good for us to keep on to our officers. I know it's really, really important that we're able to keep on to them as much as possible and as long as possible. I'm confident that, well, I mean, Councilmember Hamilton just stated that, and I think I appreciate what Councilmember Sessoms just shared of round two. I think that's critical information for us to be looking towards the future. But I think it's, I mean, public safety is our paramount duty. It's incredibly important, and, you know, I'm confident that we will support this. I think it's really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's go ahead with Councilmember Walsh, finish this up, take the vote, and then take 5 minutes. Councilmember Walsh?
This may be more for Steve than you, Brian, I'm not sure. But that, you know, Councilmember Hamilton appropriately pointed out that there was that 0.1% sales tax. What is the figure on how much it will be annually that we'll collect from it?
That is 1.5 per year, but that we've estimated. Million, yes.
Okay, okay. So that'll go a significant ways
Yes.
towards that, okay. All right.
Assuming that, and we passed that earlier this year, but we don't start collecting until tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I think, yeah.
So we probably won't see that until the first, well, excuse me, the fourth quarter of this year. So it'll be, I guess, half of that amount.
Rich, thanks for the reminder that it's tomorrow. I need to adjust the sales tax on my business. So anyway, all right, thank you.
Could we have a motion here?
Yes. I move to forward option 1. Let me just confirm I'm in the right spot here. Thank you. I move to forward option 1 to the July 7th, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll take 5 minutes for a break. Or less. Is that all right?
So do you want us to log out and log back in?
No, I think you can just sit there and just give us a few minutes and IT will reboot. Just look pretty. That's all. So the Finance Economic Development meeting is reconvening at 5:48 PM. We're not sure if we're still on a static picture, but we can be heard, so that's good. Good. We can see Councilmember Sapadawson and Councilmember Sessom, so they're back with us too. So we'll get started again, and I see, starting with Ms. Briggs, we're going to be talking about our cafeteria plan, which is always interesting to me that they call it a cafeteria plan. So maybe you can explain that.
Well, I don't know why they call it a cafeteria plan, and I think it's kind of interesting too. But what it is our flexible spending account benefit. This is a voluntary benefit that employees who are regular status employees can opt into. And it's a way for them to have money withheld from their check pre-tax and set aside for either healthcare expenses or daycare expenses. So this is heavily regulated by the IRS. And originally, it's a use it or lose it plan. So you set aside these funds, and if you don't use them, that's tough, they're gone. But we had a 2.5-month grace period. So if you didn't spend them by the end of December, you at least had a little bit of a grace period into the following year to spend it. But in 2014, the IRS said, hey, let's let people have a rollover. So plans had to make a decision. You could either do the grace period or the rollover, which was $500. So we didn't make the change immediately, but we polled the employees who participate in the plan, and almost unanimously they chose the rollover. So we implemented that in 2015. And then in 2020, the IRS decided that they should not have it be a flat $500 rollover, but that it should increase with inflation each year. And we didn't change anything, but in 2023, we did decide to change our plan to go with this new rule that it would change each year based on IRS guidance. Unfortunately, I don't think we realized that we needed to update the resolution that governed the cafeteria plan. And this year, our plan administrator said to me, you need a new plan document. You need to update the plan document. And so we were working on that, and I noticed at the end of the plan document that it was asking for information on the resolution. So I went back to find the resolution, and that's when I realized, oh, what we're doing doesn't match the resolution. Consulted with City Attorney Call and decided we needed to push a resolution through this committee and council to bring everything up to date and in compliance.
All right, well, thank you, Ms. Briggs. Council, is there any questions? Let's see, seeing none, do I hear a motion?
I move to forward the proposed resolution to the July 7, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to send this forward. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to wait.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. So now we're moving on to item D on the agenda, authorization to apply for grant RCO, Planning for Recreation Access at the Steel Lake Dock. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess your name up. Could you say
Yes.
your name?
Greetings, my name is Clarabelle Oriana.
Oriana. Thank you so much.
Yes. Greetings, Council President Honda, Committee Chair Kochmar, Committee and Council members. Today I have a policy question. Should City Council authorize staff to apply for the Recreation and Conservation Office, RCO, grant for planning and recreation access for Steel Lake Dock? As far as financial impacts on this question, this item is not included with the approved budget of Parks Capital budget. As proposed, this project will be funded by RCO under the Planning and Recreation Access, PRA grant. Grant financial matches are not required from the city, and there will not be any outgoing costs associated with the grant after completion. And so RCO is accepting grants for this year, And this grant in particular is to protect and improve Washington's natural and outdoor recreation. And this year, the Parks Department wants to pursue funding opportunities for the Steel Lake Dock. As this is a priority project for parks, and we're actively seeking for funding opportunities. And you may recall, I did come earlier this year for this same project authorization for a different grant, and it was for historic preservation. And unfortunately, we didn't meet all the criteria for that grant. And so this is another opportunity to fix and reconstruct our dock at Steel Lake. This grant funding is for $200,000, and it's to support the planning and design efforts of a new dock, a critical and needed stage before construction. And to note, construction and rehabilitation is not included in this grant program. Applications are due July 15 of this year, and grant awardees are to be notified October 26, 2026. And so the options considered are to authorize staff to apply for the RCO grant for planning for recreation access for Steel Lake Dock, or 2, do not approve staff to apply for the grant and provide direction to staff.
Thank you very much. Council members. Council President.
Thank you. Excuse me. So if, hoping that we get this grant, so do you know if they'll have grants that we could apply to build the dock?
There's a few options. There's one that the application's due in October, and that may be too soon. The best bet is waiting for the next round, 2027 grants. Even through RCO is a good resource.
Is there restrictions on when the dock could be built? I know down at Redondo and Dash Point, there are restrictions on when you can do the work. Are there restrictions at the lake?
I am not able to answer those. I don't know, but part of the planning and design is to include cultural and environmental studies and surveys.
Okay,
That
thank you.
would give us the timeline.
Thanks very much.
Councilmember Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Will there be public art incorporated into the dock?
At this time, I don't have that included in this grant proposal.
Okay. I think it'd be nice to have some fish or something. There is some pretty cool public art at Steel Lake Park. Yes, Jason.
Go ahead,
This
Jason.
would be for design and planning, so basically what this grant would fund is some nice construction drawings that we would be able to put out to bid. And so I haven't fully read or understand the new ordinance that's proposed on art, but I don't think that art would go on the planning portion of it. It would be on the construction portion of it.
On the construction documents? Okay, okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Well, thank you. I do want to piggyback off that. I mean, I think if we're going to be passing this ordinance, then I would expect that, I would think, that art would be part of that program, part of that construction at some point. So that would be something important, and what a place to have art as well. I mean, I think that'd be really significant, and so thank you for that question. Councilmember Hamilton, that was a question I was going to ask as well, so.
Council President.
Thank you. We have a lot of really cool art at Steel Lake that King County left for us, and then some that we've put there ourselves. About how much does it cost to build a new dock? It's in the millions, right?
It will depend on what design and alternatives we go with.
Because on part of the resolution, it has a cost factor, so. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions, do I hear a motion?
Before making a motion, one quick question. What does RCO stand for?
It's Recreation and Conservation Office.
Okay, all right. And with that, I move to forward the request to apply for the RCO grant for planning for the recreation access for Steel Lake Dock to the July 7, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
And I'll second that.
All right, go ahead, Councilmember Moore, he has a question.
So $200,000, I mean, what is that, what is the specific accounting for? Sorry, I thought it was lit up. What, $200,000, and what is that, how is that accounted for? I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
We have gone out to speak with a consultant group and given us a breakdown of an estimate. So that would, based on their estimate, it would get us about, including permitting and cultural and environmental consultation and surveys, it would be about maybe 85% of a design, and then we would have to in-house try to get it to 100%.
And is that feasible to do it in-house? I imagine it would be, right? That last
The-
part that you said?
The additional funding, we would make it part of our priority to finish it to 100% for shovel-ready.
Okay.
So when you say shovel-ready, we're talking about design, that 200,000 for the design. And,
Yes.
and Council President Honda was just mentioning millions for the dock construction.
This is for the design and planning.
Right.
The 200.
Yeah, so where are we going to find the money for the?
Oh, that would be a separate conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just curious of how's, what does the accounting look like for 200,000, because that's not in the packet. So I was just more so curious of that detail, so. That's it, Chair.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move forward to the next item on our agenda. And by the way, I've asked the mayor to let us know about the plans for the Salties dock down at Des Moines, asking City of Des Moines what's going on and letting us know what might be happening with that dock underneath Salties Pier. And then also, I think there's also some discussion about retail going in down there somehow. Be nice to know what's going on. Next item on the agenda is accept the King County Parks grant for the aquatic facilities, Leaf, Ellsworth. Hi there.
Good evening, Chair Kochmar, Council President Honda.
You don't have any Vikings in your family, right?
Not that I'm aware of, but
Leif
it
Erikson.
definitely is some Norwegian background there.
Okay, thank you.
Before you tonight, I have a policy question, is should the city council accept the $1.525 million funding award from the King County Parks Levy Aquatic Facilities Grant Program for the Federal Way Community Center pool renovation and authorize the mayor to execute the associated agreements with King County? And just as a little background, we have brought this to you before, and so we're bringing it back to you guys just to clarify a little bit with some contracting language regarding the restrictive covenants. They were initially set at about 30 years for that contract, so to accept this money for a 30-year term, for us ensuring that we were always a community center and would be operating as such for 30 years, felt like we needed to revisit that, given the fact that we are using the funds to replace mechanical bits, pool plaster, and their useful life typically is not 30 years. And so we revisited that with King County, and they accepted those revisions, and so we'll be reducing that term down to 15 years, which is more in line with the kind of useful life of those mechanical bits.
Council, any questions? Seeing none, this is weird, no questions. Is there a motion?
I move to forward the proposed grant to grant acceptance to the July 7, 2026 City Council consent agenda for approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, Lee.
Perfect.
King County Parks Grant, Sacagawea Turf, that's you.
We'll get the pleasure of speaking to you all again for this one. We have another policy question in the same ballpark as should the city council accept the $705,796 funding award from King County Parks Grant Program and authorize the mayor to execute the associated agreements with King County for the replacement for the artificial turf at Sacagawea. So bringing this for George Richens, so he didn't have to also be here tonight, but similar situation, we brought this to you guys before and have accepted those funds. And we came back to them, to King County, and also with the same restrictive covenant of 30 years, and we're able to reduce that down to 12 years, which is more in line with what the average turf field lifespan would be.
Council President.
Thank you. Well, thanks for being here again. How long did the turf that's there now last? What is its lifespan?
If memory serves correct, I believe that went in 2012 with Federal Way Public Schools, and so that would put us at like a 14-year lifespan right now.
So the 12 years is within?
Yeah, yeah, and so about 12 years is where we're seeing that kind of breaking point, and about 2 years ago, we did, I want to say, about $5,000 in repairs where we had tears or turf that were creating trip hazards, and so we came in and did a little bit of patching, and so that's extended it a little bit as we worked out this funding issue.
Was there something with rocks getting into the turf or into the, was that where we were having an issue?
I don't recall turf or rocks getting into the turf there. Actually, now that you say it, a couple of those tears may have gotten to where you were at the rock layer, and so some of that base layer was coming out, hence why we had to do those repairs in addition to the trip hazards.
I'm glad to see the school district offering some funding for this project too, since they use the track.
Yeah, they use the field extensively. They are a partner in this, and school district's getting a great benefit in this one because usually we split capital projects 50-50, but they're only on the hook for $102,000 for this project because of the great grant that George was able to secure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Walsh?
Yeah, so what's the total cost of the turf replacement?
I want to say it's 803. Is it on here on the agenda bill or the memo? Because the grant's 705, and so it's 102 we're adding to it with the school district, so you're 807.
So between
and some
this and the
change.
school district, it's covered 100%?
Yeah, it's paid in full and no impact to the general fund, which is great.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Moore?
No, I'm right.
Oh, no.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, so one other question. Did that save the school district a lot in maintenance, the turf of the field?
In regards to what portion?
Ongoing maintenance of the field?
So we share maintenance. They do some maintenance down there. We do some maintenance.
But can you estimate how much having turf versus parks maintenance?
That's difficult to quantify. I mean, just because it's artificial turf, it still has to be maintained. We groom that 4 times a year, and then we add the rubberized material so that it keeps the head impact attenuation proper and safe for athletes. And so it's definitely less maintenance than a true grass field or
Jason, there should be figures out there somewhere, especially the people who sell turf fields, would have some kind of what the maintenance cost savings would be, because we're not mowing, we're not reseeding, we're not fertilizing, we're not leaving it fallow. There should be some kind of.
Yeah, and what I could say is that would vary. They're going to give you the estimates on a perfect world where we don't live in a perfect world, and even though we should maybe be doing maintenance on those fields a little bit more, some of that gets deferred just because of bandwidth and ability to do everything. We have so many.
I'm just thinking of Celebration Park again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it does reduce maintenance. It reduces the amount you have to purchase on fertilizer, but there's some sort of delta there. But for us, it would be difficult to quantify. I could get you industry standards, and that might give you a figure.
That would be helpful. Just
Okay,
so
that's something I can work on
stop
getting.
talking about it. But one thing, I have a child that's going to college with a soccer grant, and I'm sure playing on that kind of a field is a lot nicer than playing in the mud.
They're soft and spongy, and that's all a matter of personal opinion. Some folks
Some
really
like
like
it, some don't.
like natural turf, and
Yeah.
again, to me, it's a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
For us, though, it definitely gives us a little break in that maintenance department because with the amount of rain here, you really can only play on fields about 6 months, and that might be pushing it on true grass turf fields.
Yeah, yeah. Council President?
So having a backyard that has artificial turf, it is not maintenance-free. It's like another house room to clean. It is definitely, it doesn't have to be mowed, it doesn't have to be watered, but it It is certainly not maintenance-free. I wouldn't want anyone to ever think that.
Are you chewing sunflower seeds and sitting those out? Because
You
I
know-
bet you're not in your backyard, but they do it all over our turf fields, and that is a nightmare. I mean, it takes extensive labor hours to pick up
I
sunflower.
have to tell you, I was out, I pick up leaves and stuff every day from my backyard, but I was picking up sunflower seeds yesterday, and birds must have been dropping them. Because they were in one section. I thought, geez, if they would only stop. But it's certainly, I don't want anyone to think that they're not
Yeah.
maintenance-free. They are,
Yeah,
if you want to keep them nice.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm also curious, what kinds of injuries happen on grass fields versus turf fields.
Yeah, and that's a little bit subjective, and it
Yeah.
has to do with individual players and their bodies and how they've trained, how they've warmed up. There are a lot of factors there, and so some of those studies that say, one has better injury protection
Yeah.
than the other,
Yeah.
they're usually pushing a cause.
Thank you. Councilmember Les Sessoms is asking for a question.
Yeah, I know that we're entering the summer season, and every time I drive by there, lots of people are on the field. So when will the work commence, and how long will the field be out of use?
And generally speaking, it's not too bad. So we had a placeholder on the calendar to try to get this done right at the end of the summer, right before the school year starts. This funding mechanism has put a little damper on that. So now that we've got approval of this, once it goes through consent, we are kind of in tandem running the contract to get that signed because we anticipated this approval. But we are working before the school year ideally, just depending on additional orders they've taken in. That's in flux right now, but again, we're trying to do that. We're also trying to amend the ILA with the school district, and we would probably want to do an MOU to memorialize our contribution with the grant and their contribution out of their capital fund. And so there's still a little bit more paperwork to be done, but they can be procuring the turf, we can sign the contract. So best case, it's hopefully before the school year, but I don't have any confirmation on that because this grant and getting the grant secured and finalized with King County has taken a little longer than we had anticipated.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a motion?
I move to forward the proposed grant acceptance to the July 7th, 2026 City Council consent agenda for approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Thank you
carries, yes, you bet. Motion carries unanimously. We're moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Washington Office of Public Defense One-Time Innovation Grant. Is that Miriam? Nice to see you again.
Good evening. Good to see you all again. Good evening to all you council members, committee members. I'm here to request the approval of grant funding from the Office of Public Defense for the construction of private meeting rooms in courtrooms 1 and 2. We've been awarded $25,000 in a one-time innovation grant. That's to reimburse work done to improve attorney-client meeting rooms, private meeting rooms. Currently, the public defenders are meeting clients in the back of the courtrooms, in the open spaces, in the hallways of the court lobby, and often in courtroom 3 as well. None of these rooms are private, where their discussions are not heard by others in the area. Our current public defenders are contracted, so they don't have offices here in Federal Way. They meet with their clients on court days just prior to the calendar starting. And having a private meeting room inside the courtroom allows them to keep alert as to when they're needed to go on the record, as well as being able to speak to their clients in confidential manner. Prior to seeking this grant funding, I've spoken with the Parks Department, and they advised that this work can be done internally. I'm working with Jason Gerwin to get full assessment of the work needed and the total costs. This cost will be kept within the amount of the grant funding, and the grant agreement will reflect the time period of July 1 of this year through June 30th of 2027. So that gives the Parks Department enough time to get the work done. And the meeting rooms, they're just not going to be this extravagant. They're just meeting rooms that we're putting up walls in the back, and we have plenty of space in the back of courtrooms 1 and 2 to do this without impacting too much of the spacing. There may be 1 or 2 rows in one of the courtrooms that need to be removed, but that doesn't impact the amount of people that are coming into the courtroom, since we have a lot of people appearing via Zoom. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes.
I see that we have Councilmember Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Miriam, for that report. I do have a few questions. I've actually talked to Judge Havens about this need, and definitely makes sense. We need this. I'm curious, though, these one-time innovation grants, I know we get these every year. Last year, it looks like we got awarded $80,000. Why did we only ask for $25,000 this year?
I'm not sure what the 80,000 for last year was. Was that?
That's what's
for
on
public
the.
defense?
Yes, it's the one-time innovation grant fund. It says, did the city receive RCW 10.101 state grant funds for use in calendar year 2026? And the answer is yes. If yes, what's the amount received?
I'm sorry. So yes, so they're asking what grants that we received from the Office of Public Defense, and that was for the public defense grant, which is funding the public defenders. So
Okay.
that's a separate.
So that was not the innovation grant,
No.
something else, like
No.
SPAR or something?
Correct.
Okay.
I think that question was asked as far as how much money that the city is getting from the Office of Public Defense. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I hope we can build this all out for $25,000. It seems like a very low amount for building walls, adding doors, windows, lighting, ventilation, furnishing, computer ports, and outlets. But I have faith in you, Jason, if that's what you say.
And we're trying to build it where we don't have to, if we have to build the walls where they're not all the way to the ceiling, so that we're not affecting HVAC and sprinkler systems, as I've
Okay.
been told. So, and when I asked for this amount, I had just consulted somebody from Parks that they kind of gave me an estimate of this work can be done internally, and it should be within that amount or less. So that's
Okay.
the funding.
So no
cost,
outside
so.
labor costs, just,
No.
And so I think the biggest where we're going to see the savings is we are avoiding any life safety or fire sprinkler upgrades or HVAC upgrades. And so the way we do that is not building all the way to the ceiling. That way your sprinkler coverage can still hit both areas and you don't have to modify it. If we had to modify either one of those systems, absolutely not even close to enough. And so that's where we're working in the confines and the money that we have. Doors are a couple $1,000s each. Some drywall, some studs, our labor just kind of included. We'll probably try to get some sort of soundproofing in the walls.
I was
so
just
that
gonna
you
ask.
Keep that. The thing I'm still trying to grapple with is just that gap at the top. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have that and would go all the way up. But again, we don't have the money to do HVAC and life safety upgrades. So we'll do the best we can to provide a good space to have confidential meetings within the allowable budget. But I think it's very doable with what we have, just no fire safety or HVAC.
okay, all right, thank you.
Council President?
Thank you. I'm glad this is being done. I've been in the courtrooms where I've witnessed discussions in the back of the courtroom. And I am also concerned that this might not be enough funding. If it's not enough funding, Jason, will you come back and ask us for more funding? Or are you going to just use the 25,000 and stop it? What?
My intent is that, yeah, there would be no further funding request from this body. If we were to need to go over, it would likely be covered by facilities operations budget.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Seeing no other questions from the council, is there a motion?
I move to forward the proposed grant acceptance to the July 7, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Well, we're moving right along.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Miriam. We're now to the art and public spaces, and Ryan is going to give us a presentation. Ryan is our attorney.
Good evening, everybody. So I do have a slideshow. It is the same, mostly the same slideshow that we went through last time. So for those at home, this is the second time that we've discussed this topic at FedRAC. And this is a follow-up from that last discussion. So we're here to talk about the Art and Public Places Ordinance. Some background. Like I said, we previously talked about this in April. The current policy was implemented in 1994. It's been here basically for the entire life of the city. It's one of the first things that was passed, the first couple of years. It's codified in Chapter 4.15 of our revised code. It's meant to fund art in public spaces. It's supposed to make the city beautiful, and as some of our public commenters pointed out, the benefit of art in public spaces is well documented, and the city wants to prioritize that. Many cities have a similar policy. We've noted before that we copied ours a long time ago, I think from Kirkland was what I heard. That's long before my time. Most of the cities use a 1% multiplier. The Federal Way, signifying that they were very serious about this, used 2%. So we're twice as serious about it, was the intent, I think. The reason that I'm here is that for a long time, we have forever, as noted, the senior, I don't know who the senior official was, but there was this understanding among staff and elected officials even that maintenance was excluded from this program. Unfortunately, there's language in the code that muddies that issue. I think attorneys have been working hard to justify the practice of not including maintenance in these calculations by some selective or creative reading of the ordinance. Not saying that was particularly wrong, but I think it's a little strained. And the auditor, who's not a lawyer, just reads plain language, brought it up as an issue, and I think it's a better course of action just to make the language clear and follow it instead of trying to interpret it as has been done in the past. So this is explaining that ambiguity, but the bottom line is there is some tension between a definition section and then the section that talks about what is qualifying capital improvement. We're seeking to resolve that and also modify the policy itself to be consistent with past practice mostly, but also to increase some of the numbers. The original number, threshold number is $25,000, which is essentially everything we do. I don't think that there's any such thing as a capital project that is under $25,000. So moving on to the actual policy. These are the proposed changes. So we want to redefine what qualifying projects are to include the newly publicly accessible facilities where an awarded contract is greater than $350,000. So that $350,000 is an important number. That corresponds to what triggers a Small Works Roster program, which is a form of public work. Generally, these are projects that are managed by an engineer, and they're we have more of a structure for these higher threshold projects than we do for some of the smaller projects. Like we just talked about building some walls down in the courthouse for $25,000. That's a capital work, but it's such a low number that it will be run by one of Mr. Gerwin's people, not necessarily a project manager that is, an engineer. The new policy does explicitly exclude maintenance, refurbishment, or renovation of existing facilities from the public arts program. And it calculates the amount of the art contribution based on that portion of the new facility that's accessible to the public. We had 2 comments between our last meeting and this meeting from council members, and this is one of them. It was proposed that we exclude contingency authorizations from that calculation. So I have included that language. So we would calculate the art contribution at the time of the contract award, and it would not include contingencies. So that's important to, EJ brought this up, is that we often have to come back and either get more money for a project or there's overruns, and it's a little unclear as to what the number is going to be at the end of the day. And we want to make it clear that we're not going to recalculate the art project contribution for cost overruns or contingencies because that's not really foreseeable, and it makes it very hard to plan the art project. It also requires, this policy requires that the art be installed at the facility that is funding the art, if possible. And if not, we need to come back to council and ask permission to put it somewhere else. The other addition that was suggested by a council member is that we make the art commission the default selection body if council does not select somebody. So we have added a definition for what we call a project art selection team, so it's very clear that on every project, we will ask council if they want to make a selection for who's going to pick the art before it comes to council. But if council declines to do that or doesn't for some reason, then the default answer would be the Arts Commission would be the body that selects the art. And then we have language and grammar corrections throughout the document. So, we've talked about the policy considerations at length. I think we'll skip that and get to council discussion, if that's okay with you.
Thank you, Ryan. Council, are there any questions, discussion? Council President?
The committee doesn't want to start? Nope.
I don't see any. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Walsh, do you want to?
I'll just say I like the way it looks now. And I think that I like the general idea of it, and I think that those minor adjustments and revisions, I think, work well also. So I'm, unless other council members have some problems that I'm not aware of, I think it's great.
All right.
Council President.
Thank you. So I'm happy we're discussing this. I just want to talk about the way that we worked on our last public art project for the maintenance yard. I was super happy that we were going to get more public art in Federal Way because we don't often build something that allows us to do that. And I had asked several times, when we were going to get the committee together, when we were going to, how much money we were going to have. I was disappointed by how that all was handled. The committee consisted mostly of staff with 2 arts commissioners, and I have served on public art committees for the public schools here, for the King County Library, and for the city. And that's not how choosing public art had been done before, so I will be happy to see it in this document that the Public Art Committee will be made up of the Arts Commission or of people that the City Council chooses. I would like to see, though, added to this that in case a City Council down the road doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't agree with Arts Commission members, that we have, and I'm looking for the paragraph, that we include in this document that at least a percentage of the Public Arts Committee to choose the public art is made up of art commissioners. And I cannot find the, so I am looking for where that might be.
Let me see.
But I want to make sure that it's documented that we do definitely 100% include members of the Arts Commission on this committee. And I think it needs to be in here.
So that, I would add it under Project Art Selection Team under definitions is where I would probably put something like that if if there was a consensus that that was what council wanted to do.
Oh, okay, I see it. I just think it's important that if we're gonna document changes, that we document that. I'm also interested in the maintenance of public art. I know that was something when I was on the Arts Commission, we had a real concern with because we didn't have funding in the Parks Department to maintain the public art. And I'd like to know how that will be maintained in the future. Jason, do you have any idea about that? Is that still under your department?
Generally speaking, yeah, when there's damage or vandalism to artwork, it's on the Parks Department to repair it. And so we generally repair as we can and ability. The only two things I can think taken out of service, there was the carved baseball that got vandalized
Right.
and damaged. But you had asked some questions previously about the maintenance building that was built. And I recall about that time, we did put in a new baseball, had a new baseball carved to replace that. And like I say, I ran out of time in my day to do more research on that. And so we, to the best of our ability, we try to repair it. The ball is the one I can think of that we took out of service, and I feel like there was one other, but I'm drawing a blank on what specific art that was. We did have the windmill that was at the skate park originally that got relocated to the Federal Way Community Center. But that's still intact and working. It had some problems with some of the movement, but that all got fixed. We have artwork down at Dumas Bay Center, which is the fountain. And so in that art agreement, we were losing water, and the sump was not holding water. And so we were able to get a hold of that artist, and he chose to come repair it on his own. So we keep those kind of records in that. We do our best to repair it, but if it's unrepairable, we may take things out of service.
The piece of art at the skate park, I call it Dancing Flowers because the artist never named it. Usually they name their work.
Yeah.
And he never named that, so we kind of called it Dancing Flowers. But that was taken down to nothing. I mean, that was entirely rebuilt because of the damage.
Right.
And I don't remember how that was paid for, but I'm glad we were able to do that.
Yeah, and I know that's why it was relocated, and I can't recall the cost on the repairs to it, but I remember it being extensive.
So then it would just be part of the parks
So it just
budget to repair public art?
Yeah, we have no line item for repair, and so we squeeze every penny we can out of what we're given, which is already slim as it is, but we take it on a case-by-case basis, and we're trying to preserve it for perpetuity if we can.
Having $350,000 as the base of what we would have public art, can you give me an example of what that would cover today? Like, what would that build today? What project is?
It would build half of the Sacagawea artificial turf, but only half of it. So $350,000, it's a low threshold, right?
Okay.
And when we're talking docks, we were talking, $1 million to $2 million probably for a new Steel Lake dock, and that's a wild guess. That's not any engineer estimate. I'm just throwing out what I've heard from industry standards. But yeah, $1 million doesn't go far these days, and we don't have adequate operations budget as it is, and so it's always a push and pull, and that's why we defer maintenance, because we're trying to take care of the immediate needs and those things that need to stay going, and so then other things get pushed to the side because we're taking care of the immediate problem.
Well, I'm glad we're fixing this. I'd like to thank Karen Brigado for bringing it to our attention, and thank staff for moving forward with it, and glad that it's being done. But I would like to propose that we do add under the Project Art Selection Team, it says currently means a team appointed by the City Council to recommend a preferred selection of art for project-specific art and public places installation. And I would like to see that we make sure that the Arts Commission does have membership on that team that's appointed. Not sure how to word it, though.
I don't think wording's that difficult. I would just propose that we pick a number, say one or two.
At least two.
members of that body would be arts commissioners. But
So, but I'm not on the committee. I can bring
Yeah,
it.
I'd say which shall include at least 2 members of the Arts Commission.
Do we need to second that?
No,
we're not really taking a vote on this. I'm just trying to get a
We're just
consensus
trying to
on whether or
pass
not it'll pass at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So if everyone kind of agrees with it here, then I'll just change that, and when we actually propose it to you at the next meeting, it would be in there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, a big thanks to Karen Brigado for bringing this where she is, bringing this to our attention. I definitely think the art selection team has to have arts commissioners on that team. That's very important, I think. So I would agree with that assessment. I also really do love the idea, somebody brought it up about a mural. I think a mural, maybe, commemorating the nation's 250th birthday would be a good idea. But I definitely think art, it's important, and murals, they do deter graffiti. And I think telling the story of our city is also a great idea with these murals. What I heard was that most cities invest 1%, and Federal Way invests 2%. So again, I want to reiterate that art is important to Federal Way, and I think that shows that. I support the ordinance, even though I won't be voting tonight on it, because I'm not a member of the committee, but I think of this ordinance more as a kind of a cleanup ordinance, where we are more closely aligning to what the current longstanding practice and interpretation has been. And I would not be in favor of having ambiguity in the current language driving a new policy that was never intended. So that's my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sessoms?
Thank you, Chair. So I have to concur with the arts commissioners who offered a public comment earlier. Thank you very much for your comments. They really resounded with me or resonated with me. Yes, I do agree that art is important in our community, and we should always hold it in high esteem. It does indeed tell a story. So if I were on the committee, of course, I would vote for this to move forward. So in fact, in relation to who should select this art, I think the Arts Commission should definitely have a say-so on that matter. I think it's important for us to realize that we have to do everything that we can to modernize and update the ordinance so that we're giving the resources necessary for this artwork to be in Federal Way. It does beautify our city. It can definitely enhance the livability of especially in our downtown core. But I'm sure they have ideas on where to put this art as well. So with having said that, I'm all for it, and thank you again, Ms. Brigado and Mr. Bostic and the other commissioner who showed up tonight. Thank you.
I see Councilmember Savedassin lowered her hand.
Yeah, I'll add a comment.
Go ahead.
Just so my questions were asked, but I didn't hear when it was presented that once the art is selected, it would come back to either council for maybe further discussion. I didn't hear anything like that. I know it will come to us for approval is what it says. So I just want to make sure that we got it. We have a say, or I don't mean we, but the council has a say at the end of the day.
So as it's written, council would have to veto a project but basically, you have up or down authority. You can say, we're not going to spend the money, we are going to spend the money, but the art selection team would be the one that selected the art.
So when it comes to council, it's just to say, hey, this is what we've selected?
It's to appropriate money, but not to select the art.
All right. So,
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Moore?
Yeah, Ryan, I feel like I might have asked this question before, but if you can just jog my memory a little bit. If I understand it correctly, it's saying that if something is budgeted at 350 and then we can place art, do you utilize the 2% for the art, is that correct?
Part of a project that costs more than $350,000 will include an additional 2% that needs to be used for an art project.
Okay, so 349,000 would not meet that criteria. So why?
And it's got to be new construction.
A new construction. So why couldn't it be 250,000? Just out of curiosity.
We picked 350 because it aligns with kind of the logical small works projects. So when you hit the 350 mark on a capital works project, it's a more managed project. And so it's easier for staff to incorporate art into those projects. So it's arbitrary. We picked a number somewhat arbitrarily. I'll say this, 350 in the public works world it's almost nothing. I mean, any new construction will be over $350,000. So what we're excluding by that number is small projects like building walls inside of City Hall or a shed, small things. But you can't build a building for less than several $1 million.
And how does that compare to other cities, other jurisdictions?
They're all over the place. So a lot of cities exclude maintenance entirely. They exclude renovations of things entirely. A lot of them have $1 million thresholds or $2 million thresholds. Some have none. So I took the slides out because we went over that last time a lot.
Sure.
But I kind of diagrammed some of the cities that I inventoried, but it's kind of all over the place.
Okay.
There is no state law on this. It's whatever a city wants
Yep.
to do. So some cities have more money to fund these sorts of things. So I think that they find ways to expand it.
Got it. And so, so it sounds like, last time we talked about it, we went back to the chalkboard, reworked it, brought in some feedback from from public comments, and added that to this ordinance. And now that's where we are today, correct?
It's the same ordinance with those two additions. So I didn't
Two
go back
additions.
and rewrite it. This is as presented last time, but we had two suggestions from council members. One was to explicitly exclude contingency fees from the calculation, and the other was to make the Arts Commission the default body
Okay.
if council does not appoint somebody. And now we've heard a third, which is to add two arts commissioners to the art selection team no matter what.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right.
I have,
Council President.
thank you. Councilmember Asafa Dawson, the arts selection teams that I've been on, the team selects the art and then it goes to the governing body, either the school district or the city council or whatever, and then they vote on it. When the Performing Arts and Event Center was being built, that selection team couldn't make a decision, and they came to council and we had to make the final decision on that art. There were two pieces that they couldn't decide on, and which was unusual. But generally speaking, the selection committee comes up with the art, and then the city council will just say yes, hopefully. And I want to thank the arts commissioners for being here today. I appreciate you taking time to be here with us tonight. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I do want to echo that the chair and the vice chair are here, and Vicky, of course. Thank you for being here. Thank you for utilizing your voices and sharing your thoughts and opinions, and for giving me a bad time, Cindy. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, and Karen, thank you.
All right. Seeing no more questions, can I hear a motion?
I move to forward the proposed ordinance to July 21, 2026 regular council meeting for second, hold on, hold on. I move to forward the proposed ordinance to the first reading on July 7, 2026.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Let me double check. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. I know that was hard. as well as all the arts folks that came to speak this evening. Thank you very much. Not yet. Thank you. Hi, Steve. You're going to talk to us about financial matters. And we're going to talk about, what's the first thing? Is it the payroll vouchers?
You are barely able to contain your excitement,
I-
and I appreciate that.
We're so
We are on
happy.
the home stretch.
Yeah.
Accounts payable. You know, I try to find something to make this meaningful, and what we normally do in the packet in the cover memo is of course we show the total spending for the month, and then we compare it to the 2 prior months, and we do that as well for payroll. And we also try to quantify the categories over $100,000. And the numbers are kind of getting a little bit smaller. I couldn't find anything particularly major. Now, in the construction projects, the 3 biggest pieces of that 1.2 million, one of them was an asphalt project for 400,000. One of them was some equipment for the maintenance and operations facility. And then, of course, there was the primary contractor for the O&M construction. But they're getting down towards the end of the project. So that was the most significant items I could find. If you reviewed the entire voucher register, what you saw was a lot of smaller dollar amounts, which becomes unnewsworthy. Payroll, it's unremarkable again this month. This month happened to be the month, one of the months where we get no payroll taxes. But what I will point out is I often bring our cash balance trend, and what this shows is the green is the amount that we have for liquidity, yellow is what we keep on our checking, blue is what we have in our investments that are locked up for about 5 years each. And then the red, that is the amount of the bond proceeds that we had on the operation and maintenance shop. And as you can see, the red is getting down to very little. I think it's got $3 or $4 million left. But and sometimes I say it takes a magnifying glass to even see the trend here. So I thought I'd try to be clever and bring a little magnifying glass. And what I can show you is in the last 3 months, the cash balance in total for the city has ever so slightly increased. Now, I say ever so slightly. The difference between those last 2 figures, that's $2 million in the total city. All of which is to say that, as usual, everything in our accounts payable, all the checks that we write, we make sure that they're coded properly, they're within budget. We list the entire list of accounts payable so that it's transparent to you and the public. And then, of course, we have to bring it to you for compliance. If you have any questions, we always receive your questions, and if finance can't answer them, why, we'll reach out to the other departments to find them. And Council President always sends some questions. We sent out an email. Boy, we had a little tough time making it before the meeting today. We've been experiencing some turnover in finance, and I know that you also reserve the right anytime you think of additional questions, let us know. Other than that, of course, I'm just requesting approval of the usual vouchers, and if you have any questions now, I'll take them.
Council Member Walsh.
Just a quick question. On electricity, how does that compare year over year?
I don't know. We are concerned about it. EJ, of course, in Public Works, we've been talking about the PSC rate increase. We have not had time to do the analysis. We've been working on last year's audit, next year's budget, our computer conversion, plus our normal stuff. It's a really good question. I would like to have the answer, but I don't have it. It takes some analysis, and we need to capture the current year's trend. I think we'd like to get the bottom of it.
I did ask that, and
yeah, you did. And it's a really good question, and I don't have the answer. I think we're going to try and follow up on that if we can find the bandwidth, so.
All right.
I bet you won't like the answer, and I won't either, but I don't have the answer. Yeah.
I don't like the answer in my own household on
yeah,
it, so anyway, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to speculate. We'll see if we can nail it down.
I mean, if the city does like at our household, I mean, we're considering, it'd be making over the community center, they'd be taking cold showers And here at City Hall, you'd be living at 55 degrees in the winter, but, so.
Now, the city's electricity bill, it is pages and pages, meters and meters, and does it compare year over year? Were there some new things added? Is there something seasonality it might? You know, we can give you total over total. I'm sure that'll be the easy part, but then it may raise more questions than it does answers. We're adding the maintenance facility. We've added new streetlights. So how much is rate and how much is volume? Good question, and I don't have the answer. I'll just be.
So, Council President Honda.
I was just thinking of electricity. So when we create, or you create the budget for 27 and 28, you'll have to have some kind of idea.
Yes.
Do we anticipate that rates will come down, or do we anticipate that what they are will be what they are or higher?
We are asking the departments that know their areas best to first off, give us what the obligatory increases are, the contractual increases. But beyond that, we'll work with them and see if we can estimate. We may use trend analysis, but we're going to have to estimate. And I think in every case, costs always go up. I can't think of anything in the city that goes down.
Well, we can't, PSE, I mean, this would impact every single
Yeah.
jurisdiction in the state of Washington.
Sure.
And it seems like that's a lot of lobbying power that we should be able to convince PSE to hold the line.
Yeah, I'm working closely with EJ on the street lighting expense. I think that, well, no, the community center uses quite a bit of electricity with all of its equipment, as you can imagine, so, yeah. Thank you for your concern and your engagement, and you've stumped me at the moment.
Councilmember Dawson or Sessoms?
I'm good, no, thank you.
No questions here.
Thank you. Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Steve, for your report. So I was trying to find where I saw the public defense. It looks like it was on May 29th, 2026, Stuart McNichols, 102,707. Does that sound right?
If you've looked it up in it's a multiple-page report, I don't.
That is the name of the public defense firm.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was looking at the right line. So,
Thank you,
I mean,
Miranda. I misheard the question, I apologize.
okay, so that's one of our larger expenses. So again, I'm just beating that drum. When that triples, that's going to be like over 300,000. Okay, and then also I just have a quick question for you on page 4. And maybe this is a dumb question. But what is this PD equipment parachutes? Are they parachuting, or is this the name of a?
Here, I'll show you the answer.
Did you read my reply already?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah, yes.
I laughed when I saw the question, you laughed when you saw it in there. And when we pulled the invoice, which I sent out earlier today to Council President Honda, I understood whoever was inputting the data, that was the first word that they came to that they recognized, because if you've ever seen an IT invoice,
Yeah.
they list part numbers and acronyms and whatever, and it was the PD drones, which you all have gotten a presentation from
okay.
police, and the first word that they got to that they recognized in plain English said parachute. So.
Okay, so our officers are not now
Because
paratroopers.
each came with a parachute, right. That
Okay.
is, because that's an awfully large dollar.
I mean, I thought this is very innovative, but.
And it's a large dollar amount, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just had to ask because I saw parachute and it's just, well, that's interesting.
$100,000 for parachutes all over the city.
Our SWAT team has unusual requirements from time to time, but parachutes has never been one of them.
So, Councilmember Walsh?
I would just say that a couple of lines down, the Mohawk lifts, I mean, if you're going to leave it to me, I'll have a hard time with the Mohawk lift.
Well, that did not escape the attention of Council President Honda either. She asked about that, and that turns out to be one of the hydraulic, when you go into a auto repair dealer, or used to be a service station, those lifts that lift automobiles? Well, we need lifts that lift dump trucks. And so that's part of the operations and maintenance facility.
So I'm looking at, I printed Councilmember Honda's questions, and I can see the Axon Air DFR single dock
See, she's prepped me to answer your questions.
with the parachute. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, thank you.
But this is our city. We need to keep our thumb on the pulse of what's going on, and this is how we do it.
I'm ready with the motion.
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, motion, please?
Yes, I move to forward the vouchers to the July 7th, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. You're down to the last item, sir.
And this item feels very routine, very repetitive. You see it every single month. But recognize, what am I bringing you? I'm bringing you the latest information. We adopted a budget almost 2 years ago, and so our intent here is to keep you up to date on how are we doing on the budget that we adopted. As you know, some of the revenues come in on a 1 and 2 month lag. Expenses, salaries and benefits, we know, but the invoices themselves are on a variable leg. So that's why it's very typical at this time of the year for revenues to be unfavorable, for one thing, that come in on a lag, but also there's that, the effect of property tax coming in the two pieces it does when it does, so it doesn't come in smoothly over 1/12. And also because the invoices come in on a lag, what we want to know is, how is revenue doing? And there's two ways that we measure it. We measure it against budget, and we also look at the trend. Now, inflation recently, in the last 3 months, popped up surprisingly, for almost 3 years. The Fed could not get inflation down to 2%, but it was hovering in the 3-point-something range. And only this last month did they report a number over 4.2. So the reason that is significant is when we look at sales tax, this month I can report that for the 4 months of the beginning of the year, remember this comes in on a 2-month lag, we're showing 7% over prior year. That just warms my heart. It's better than inflation. That means our sales volume has risen. It isn't just price. So, yeah, we're still unfavorable to budget. 228,000 so far does not sound like a terrible number like it did last year. Sales tax appears to be improving. It's improving against budget, and it's improving over prior year. And it's going to color how we budget for the next 2 years. Just making sure that we are constantly making sure that we're on top of the latest trend in what our local economy is doing. Unrestricted utility tax has been very strong. Part of this could be because the underlying rates are going up, and we just ride that wave because our utility taxes are a percent of the utility costs themselves. This is 11% favorable to budget. Property tax revenue, as I mentioned, it is very little the first 3 months, and then during April, May, it pops up. That's normal, and it's pretty much right on. It's slightly unfavorable to budget, slightly unfavorable to prior year, but nevertheless, what gets levied generally gets collected. Real estate excise tax, I did not see the large transaction that we have heard occurred in the city. The sale of a hotel did not appear, so this month does not have that. And yet, if you look at the trend on the left-hand side, the first 5 months of the year have increased in 2025 and in 2026. It's not because of mortgage rates dropping, we know that. Permit fee revenue is tracking pretty much right on the same level that it was last year. It's the red actual for the current year is tracking right along the thin blue line that shows what it came in last year. So far, it's unfavorable to budget. It's early in the year. We'll keep watching it. Lodging tax revenue took a little bit of a dip, but then, again, this is a small number. This is not a scale of 12 million like property tax. This is not on a scale of 20 million like sales tax. This is, and it's restricted for the purposes that lodging tax can be used. But again, it's a local indicator of how the economy is doing. And given the events with the soccer tournament up in Seattle, why, you know, this is coming in on a lag. My news is old news, but we'll continue to watch it and see how we did, because I report it every month. I already showed you this graph. The cash has returned pretty much to the pre-ARPA, the pre-bond issuance levels, and that colors how our available cash has been available for the interest earnings. So this year we are underperforming. So as we go into the third quarter, we did turn our audit in for 2025, and the state auditors have started asking questions, pulling invoices and timesheets and doing interviews. We are working on our financial system conversion project. The finance staff has been putting in 4 hours and 8 hours for some of their work sessions, some of them a couple times a week, and then they have been assigning us homework, so that's taking up some of our bandwidth. And we have started the 27-28 budget. Clearly, I watch revenue every single month, so I'm starting to project out through 27 and 28. And we have put out our baseline budget worksheets to all departments, asking them to tell us in each of their budget, what are the obligatory expenses that we have to absorb? We don't have a choice. That would be things like benefit increases, insurance premiums, IT contracts, what have you. We want to make sure that we start with that. And then at the end of this month, we will be calculating all of the existing staff at their next 2 step increases. So that'll give us the biggest pieces of our budget, and we've started working on that. So that's the latest information that I have. I hope that helps you feel like you're staying informed and briefed on the state of the city finances. Any questions?
Councilmember Walsh?
Just a couple of questions. Just anecdotally, have you heard anything about the lodging tax situation? Anecdotally, have we received a bump because of FIFA or not?
My information's 2 months old, so I'm going to.
Like I say, I'm just anecdotally.
So I haven't heard anything.
Okay, all right.
I haven't verbally, no.
And then the other thing is, one of the things that Paul mentioned earlier with the contingencies, with all of the contracts. Do we have a average of, I mean, how often are we having to dip into contingencies funds, and if we do, how much, things like that?
I'll give you an anecdotal answer. It feels to me like every project always has a surprise. As much as you go out to bid and you have all of the contractors compete against each other, when they open up walls, they're going to find something, or something is going to change out in the world. That's just the nature of the imperfect world we're in. It feels to me like it's pretty common to see change orders, and they always have a good explanation, and you try to pin them down on each of the components, and then you say, okay, well, we want to be smart, and we want to budget cautiously. We want to budget so that we're going to be able to come in on the money that we have. So holding back a little bit on contingency, from a budgeting and a forecasting standpoint, that something I think I've seen a lot, and I think EJ and Jason would give you a similar perspective from their angle.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Council President?
Thank you. On the business licenses, it's decreased every month. Do we know why that's happening?
No, the rates have not changed, so that it has to be a decreased volume. And it's just a matter of what comes to us. When we budget, we're forecasting based on what we saw in the previous year and what we think will be different this year. It's part of a guess.
On the utility tax rebate program, it closes at the end of May. Do we know how many people applied this year?
We do, and I failed to put it in the page.
Can you send it to us?
We've issued checks for $695. I think that was
That's
eight.
all?
I think that was 8 applicants. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. And REIT, so we had the bump in REIT by that big sale, wasn't it an apartment complex or something? In
Last year.
February?
Trying
to
in
find-
February this year, it was residential sales. Last
Okay.
year in December, we had an apartment complex and a storage facility.
So,
And we've heard that there's a hotel transaction, and I haven't seen it come into us, to our bank.
REIT revenues, okay.
Yeah.
So in February of this year, what's reported was a significant increase, but every other month has been down. If we did not have that abnormal month, which was great to have an abnormal month, which was positive, and it looks like this will be the trend for the year, what are you projecting at the end of the year as to what REIT will look like?
You know, it looks, extending that line, looks like it's going to miss by about $1 million or $1.5 million, but I don't know what that large transaction lurking that I'm waiting for. So
Okay.
we'll keep you updated on that. And again, REIT can only be used for infrastructure projects in public works or in parks. So the projects themselves are what get green lighted when we see the revenue.
And I want to talk a little bit about ARPA. So we have some projects that haven't spent much, if anything. Most of them are related to economic development. I'm wondering, because that's no longer ARPA, now that's in the general fund, can
Yes.
we use that money elsewhere?
Yeah, you have indicated that you want me to report each of those projects. and
Right.
So I think it's up to you. I have been talking to the directors on that spending, and I've kept Brian Davis and the mayor informed, but
So the projects I'm talking about specifically are mostly economic development, and they were ones that Meredith had decided probably we should not follow through with. So I'm thinking that it's been a while now, and, excuse me, maybe we should, if possible, because now this is in the general fund, it's not ARPA, right?
Yeah.
If we could reallocate that funding to things that need more funding, like streetlights or that kind of stuff.
yeah, I'm taking the role of a scorekeeper and reporting so that we keep
So who do I talk to
keep
about
it
that?
visible. I think our city administrator, and then economic development, I think we're going to be seeing a change, so I'm not going to speak for either one of those.
Okay. One is, one that we haven't spent anything on yet
Mhm.
is social services, community engagement, and social services nonprofit facility usage. And I honestly don't remember what those were supposed to be, but one's 100,000 and one is 4,000.
Sure, yeah, and my commitment to you is to make sure we kept track of it so we don't lose track of it.
So I'm just thinking maybe it's time that someone take a look at this and see if what we haven't spent money on are still things that are
Yes,
worthwhile spending money on.
and I did show this very schedule to our city administrator
Okay.
just in the last couple of weeks, because he was thinking along the same lines, possibly.
Okay, I'll talk to him tomorrow then about it.
Great.
And then LTAC, I was going to talk about that, but already talked about. So, all right, thank you.
Certainly.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you, Chair. So Steve, you said only 8 people took advantage of the utility rebate program?
Yeah, I think that is the final number. I'm waiting for
Okay.
the next check batch to just come out, but I think that was the
Okay.
total, yeah.
I did get a constituent that brought that up, actually, a little while ago. And they had mentioned that what they had noticed was that the process involved a lot of paperwork and a lot of steps for a max $100 rebate. And so there could be some barriers there. Maybe people think it's not worth it. So maybe we can look at the process for how people are having to get this rebate, and if it's like overly burdensome, maybe we can streamline it a little
I'm
bit.
going to let your seatmate, I mean, it's the sheriff, it's your call, but I think,
So we've been talking about this for several years. So
we in finance totally agree. It's a lot of paperwork and a lot of our time and
Okay.
effort, too.
We actually decreased the paperwork a few years ago to make it easier, but then a number was put on each utility as a maximum, and that hasn't worked out yet because the maximum amount is $100. And with the senior commission, they've come up with some ideas about how to make it easier to get more seniors to apply for this funding, because we do want to help people. That's our bottom line. And I think the city administrator is supposed to be working on this, so, but we do have ideas from the senior commission as to how we can make it better for those applying and easier, so that, and take away the artificial numbers that we put out there, because the $100 just wasn't working.
Thank you, wonderful.
Yeah, because your intent is to help the people that most need the help. When you do make a change, it's going to need an ordinance, because we in finance have to adhere exactly to what's in the city code. That program is open from January to May every year, and those are the dollar amounts, and those are the applications. And seniors need to have, or low-income residents need to have a photocopier handy, or, yeah, it's a lot of work, and we would love to have it be a more efficient process on staff as well.
And trying to make it easier, we
Yeah.
made it.
Yep.
We didn't do anything to make
Yep.
it easier, so.
Okay. So, Councilmember Sapadawson or Sessoms, any questions?
None from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
None for me either. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're almost done here. Councilmember, are we ready for a motion?
Yeah. I move to forward the May 2026 monthly financial report to the July 7th, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very, very much. We're now at the end of our agenda. We have a, next FedRec meeting will be on July 28th at 5 PM in council chambers, and we do have the 4th of July coming up on Saturday. Council President, do you know what time we're supposed to be on stage?
Probably 7 if we follow history, but I'll find out, not everybody know, because we should be
Yeah.
getting parking passes too.
So Sessoms and Asafa Dawson, just be sure to be at the park at least by 6 or 6:30, because we'll go up
Okay.
on stage and,
Probably before then, just to check it out.
yeah, and wave at everybody.
All right.
I think I heard it was 6:30.
Thank you.
6:30.
Yeah, Councilmember Walsh said something about 6:30, so want to make sure we're there, and be sure to stop by City Hall and get your parking. You should get a parking pass, so.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night. All right, well, looks like we are adjourned at 7:10 PM.